Hello Dragons, today we're going to start factoring trinomials. We're going to use this little 6-section star graphic organizer that you see over here. And let's get started. What we're going to do first is we are going to take the front number and multiply it by the back number. Technically speaking, we have standard form of a quadratic being ax squared plus bx plus c, where the front number is known as a, the back number is known as c. Make sure you notice the signs. I'm taking a positive 6 and multiplying it by a negative 2, and I'm going to put that number up here at the top of my star, negative 12. Here's what we do next. We're going to look at b, the number in front of the x, noting the sign. And we're going to put that number here at the bottom of my organizer. So I got the negative 12 by multiplying 6 times negative 2, a times c. And I got the bottom number of 1 simply by looking at the number in front of x. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to do a little thinking. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to a negative 12, but at the same time add to positive 1. In my thought bubble down here, you'll notice that I've listed all the ways you can multiply to negative 12. That's here on the left. And then I take the same two numbers and I add them over here on the right. So if I look at this first example, 1 times a negative 12, a positive times a negative is a negative. But if I turn around and add 1 plus a negative 12, I get negative 11. Use your calculator if you need to. Which one of these is going to work? Multiplying to negative 12, but adding to a positive 1. It's the bottom pair. This is the one that works. So now I'm interested in the numbers negative 3 and 4. I'm going to put those in the two lower remaining open slots. Doesn't matter which number goes left, which number goes right. So 4 and negative 3, because they multiply to negative 12 and add to positive 1, are going to go in the two lower spots. Now the next one is pretty easy. The two remaining spots of my graphic organizer, the two upper remaining spots, is going to be filled by A. We're going to just take the number 6 and put them in both slots. So now my graphic organizer is complete. So now I'm going to look at the two numbers that are far east and far west. And we're going to think of them as a fraction. So I put a box around the ones on the left, 6 over 4. We're going to think of this as a fraction. And the question I need to now ask is 6 over 4 reduced? Now you can use your calculator, or you can use your mind, whichever. If you use your calculator, remember your fraction boxes can be brought on your screen by pressing alpha y equals. So if you notice that 6 over 4 becomes 3 over 2. Now that fraction is reduced because the only number that can now divide 3 and 2 evenly is 1. I'm not going to write it as 1.5. I'm not going to write it as a mixed number, 1.5. I'm going to leave it as a fraction. This is an improper fraction, but it is still a reduced fraction. So now I'm going to take the two numbers that are on the right side and do the same thing. I'm going to look at 6 over negative 3, treat it as a fraction, and ask myself, can I reduce this? And I can. 6 over negative 3 becomes 2 over negative 1. Now sometimes you may not be able to reduce the fraction. That's okay. You're going to reduce it if you can. All right, you ready to get our answers? Or answer, excuse me. Here we go. I'm going to look at the first fraction over here, this 3 over 2. Here's what I'm going to do with it. You ready? I'm going to take the 3 and put it in front of an x in a binomial, a set of parentheses. I'm going to take the 2 and put it at the end of that same binomial. Notice I put a plus sign in front of the 2 because 2 is positive. Want to take a guess as to what I'm going to do next? Yeah, I'm going to go to this other fraction and do the same thing. The top number, the 2, is going to go in front of another x because I need to have x times x when I multiply this, because there's an x squared in my original problem, and we know that x times x is x squared. I'm going to take this -1 on the bottom of my fraction, and I'm going to bring it and put it at the end of the second binomial. Notice that I have a minus sign here because 1 is negative. So now I have 2 binomials that I think are going to multiply to be the original trinomial. How do we check? I'm glad you asked. We're going to put the original problem in y1 in our calculator and our answer in y2, just like you see on the screen. I'm going to now go to second graph, and I'm going to look at the table. If the values in y1 and y2 are twins, as you go down, they'll be different twins, but you notice when x is -2, I have twin 20s. When x is 0, I have twin -2s, and so on. If that is the case, these 2 expressions, the original problem and my answer, or your answer, are equal. And so we know that our factorization is correct. All right, I'm going to go through another one. This one's going to be a little faster. So we're going to ask to factor 4x squared minus 9x plus 2. What are we going to do first? We're going to multiply a times c, the front number times the back number, noting the signs. A positive 4 times a positive 2 is a positive 8. Goes on the top of the star. What number is going to go down here in the bottom of our graphic organizer? That's right, b, which is a -9. Okay? So now I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply to 8, but add to a -9 at the same time. Can you find out what those are? Here's a listing. Notice that we can get a positive product by multiplying 2 positives. 4 times 2 is 8, or 2 negatives. -4 times -2 is also a positive 8. But I need to find the 2 numbers that add to -9. And again, notice it's the yellow pair. So now I'm going to take these 2 numbers, -1 and -8, and put them in the lower 2 spots that are still open. Doesn't matter which side gets the -1 and which one gets the -8. All right, what am I going to put in the 2 remaining spots? It's right, a. In this case, it's 4. So now I'm looking far left and far right, and I'm thinking, hey, there's a fraction. But notice that this fraction is reduced. The only thing that can go into both 4 and -1 evenly is a 1, and that is the definition of a fraction being reduced. So, hey, I can't do anything to this guy, no worries, just let it lie. So let's go to the other side. What does 4 over -8 reduce to, if it can be reduced? All right, 1 over -2, okay? Don't make the mistake of writing -2 over 1. That would be what -8 over 4 is equal to. So make sure that you keep the position of each number in the fraction in the correct section. All right, we've got our fractions reduced. We're ready to make our binomials, and check this bad boy. All right, we're going to take the 4 and the -1, and we're going to write the binomial. Can you write, you know what binomial is going to pop up on your screen? All right. The 4 is going to go in front of the x. The top number of your reduced fraction always goes in front of your x, and your bottom number of your fraction will be the trailer, or the number at the end of the binomial. Again, notice it's -1 because 1 is negative. All right, what's my next binomial going to be? All right, top number goes in front of x, bottom number goes behind. All right, and now how do we check? All right, we're going to put the original problem in y1, our answer in y2, play matchy-matchy. Do we have matchy-matchy? Oh, notice that in the calculator I didn't put a 1x, I just put x. Remember, 1x and x are the same. I only use this one up here for emphasis so that you can see where the parts of the fraction go. All right, check y1 and y2. Got a whole bunch of twins. I know my answer is right. Love it.